Hello, welcome back to our Bible study in Exodus, where we're learning all about God's requirements for building the temple and consecrating it. I hope you are not bored or thinking this is irrelevant. Like I said before, all these things have like significance. So now I'll be sharing the lessons that I learned from Exodus 30 to 32. After God spoke about consecrating the altar and dwelling with the people, Chapter 30 details the plans for the incense altar. Here, we see again the use of acacia wood and gold in the building and the design. The incense altar was to be placed outside the inner curtain that shielded the Ark of the Covenant, and Aaron was to burn fragrant incense every morning and evening. It was considered God's most holy altar. And I remember, I just remember about the incense that there was an instruction on how to blend it, and no one else should use that same incense because it was meant specifically for, burning unto the Lord. The Lord also demanded a one-time census tax, a small piece of silver from every person as a sacred offering, which was to be used to take care of the tabernacle. Now here also, the instruction was that everyone should bring the same. No one brought more, no one brought less. Everyone should bring, and then it was not mandatory. God just asked them to bring that contribution. Plans were also given for the wash basin and anointing oil and the incense. Again, the Lord speaks about the Israelites observing the Sabbath rest day as a covenant obligation of all times. It's really coming back to me like God is always like on this Sabbath thing. After God finished speaking, he gave Moses 2 stone tablets inscribed with the terms of the covenant written with his finger. While Moses was away with God, receiving instructions, the Israelites decided that they were taking too long and asked Aaron to make them gods for them to worship. And he did. With their gold jewelry, he made them a calf. At this point, God was done with them and was going to destroy them all and make Moses alone a great nation. But Moses pleaded and interceded for them and asked God to look upon them with mercy. When Moses came back to the camp, of course, he was angry and he destroyed the tablets and also the calf and made them, he destroyed the calf, melted it down into gold dust, poured it into the water and made them drink it. Yeah, I wondered what that was about. But the Levites, and then he asked, he says, if anyone is for me, come to me. And the Levites did. The Levites took a stand for God, and with all those who were all those who were unrepentant, they killed. So that day, about 3,000 people died. Aaron also shifts blame. Now I noticed that when Moses asked and was like, Aaron, how far? What is this about? He says, oh, the people said they were going to kill me or something. Obviously, he lied and he shifted blame. But here we see, and this is something that's actually coming through to me. These people that God uses or chooses, what they do right or wrong doesn't change his sort of mandate for them or his plan. Because for me, I'm like, oh, you are a priest and then you are lying. Sorry. But no, I mean, it didn't change anything, about the fact that he had been chosen to be a priest. In fact, God probably already knew that he was going to lie and shift blame. But there you go. Now, the lessons that stood out for me from this chapter were these. God's timing is not ours. Moses was with him for nearly 6 weeks, just getting instructions. But I believe that it wasn't the same time for God, because who really just sits down and gives instruction for 6 weeks? So it reminds me of that thing that they said, like 1,000 years is like a day to the Lord, and a day like 1,000 years. And so obviously Moses was just there, and I'm sure he probably lost all concept of time, just listening in awe to all the things that God was saying, and maybe taking it down. And the Israelites thought that it was much too long and started to turn away from God in just like 6 weeks. But then 6 weeks could be a long time and also could be a short time depending on the context. God said in 32 8, chapter 32, 8, how quickly they have turned away from the way that I commanded them to live. So in 6 weeks, God says, how quickly. So to me, I'm convinced and just inclined to believe that it wasn't 6 weeks to God, it was 6 weeks in our own time. And in the 2 Peter 3:8, it says, what I said before, a day is like 1,000 years and 1,000 years a day. So for me, this kind of gave me comfort, because sometimes when I feel like I'm asking for something and God is taking too long, he isn't. He's working with his own timing. So what I always pray for is the grace to be able to submit to God's timing and understand his timing and know that when it is right, he will make it happen. I hope you do the same. Thank you for joining me today, and I wish you a lovely evening. I look forward to seeing you here again tomorrow, where we'll share lessons from Genesis 33 to 35. Good night.